All right, fellas, look, you've been brilliant for me all season. Like, Club World Cup, come on, that was unreal. Just got one more game left to complete a perfect trophy season for the first time ever in New Zealand, a team that's won all the trophies in the Club World Cup. All we've got to do is beat Auckland United, who are from the Northern League, and the Northern League's rubbish, so just don't bottle it, and we'll create history, boys.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 182 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with Cashmere Technical and the All Whites. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today we've got the last National League Championship Grand Final of the save in 2041. Can we pick it up one more time against some fresh meat at this stage of the competition from the Northern League? We'll take on Auckland United, the team in real life who did develop one of our favourite players so far in the save up until he retired from the All Whites, and Alex Paulsons hopefully can pick that up yet again against the team that did just sneak their way through to this final off the back of yesterday's episode where we did play an international window with the All Whites against Chile as well as Turkey. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Off the back of that, there was just one more game left in the Championship League phase of this National League here in New Zealand. We were already qualified for the final and picked up a 4-0 win over the Phoenix Reserves, so we went through with a perfect record. But going over and having a look at how Auckland United did make their way into this final, they beat Western Suburbs 2-1 on the final day, so a good result there for those guys, and it helped them sneak above Havelock North, who were in pole position before that final match day. We'll just go over and have a look at the actual results, because you can see they pipped them by 1 point. Havelock North, they drew on that final match day, and that, if we go back, was against Wahia United. So a fellow Northern League team there did help out Auckland United make their way through to this final. Just 1 point though, they made their way there over Havelock North. Manurewa were 4th, Northern Rovers and Phoenix Reserves tied on 11 points. Western Suburbs, it's a pretty disappointing season for those guys, down in 7th, only 2 wins in 9 games. Christchurch United and Wahia near the bottom of the table, and Takapuna, they did finish at the tail end. So to be fair, there was a bit of a split there between the Northern League teams and also the Central League teams. It was a bit more evenly spread out compared to how it's been the last couple of years of the save, where usually the Northern League teams have been down near the bottom, and the Central League teams have probably been our biggest threats here in New Zealand. But Auckland United are a team I don't think we've taken on too much on camera so far in this save. As I said, in real life, this was the club that Alex Paulson came from before he was snapped up by the Wellington Phoenix and then Bournemouth, who sent him to Auckland FC. But they've got a fake manager who likes to play a 5-2-3, so it is quite a defensive formation. Their captain, Martin Ngobo Yebe, who is from Gabon, he's obviously an international with 37 caps. His mentals are quite good, but the rest does look like it could use work there, so that does look like a player who we should have. Some here at Cashmere Tech that are better than, to be fair. That's pretty much the case with all our guys these days, being the Club World Cup champs. Their vice captain and key player, though, is Shafiq Kuya, who's from Uganda. So to be fair, they do have a few foreign internationals in their teams, not really helping out too much in terms of the NZ Builder Nation side of this save, but he looks fairly average. Apart from those physicals, that balance in particular does look quite good. 200 caps for these guys, 96 goals, so he has a pretty good record and is currently wanted by some clubs over in Australia. But a couple of foreign internationals from nations a fair way lower than us these days on those world rankings than the All Whites are, so hopefully can pick this up one more time and get that psychological advantage over these guys going into that Champions League next season, our last tournament here with Cashmere Tech, where we're going to try and break Auckland City's record of having those Champions League titles here in Oceania. Also worth noting, these guys actually only finished third in the Northern League. That was behind Manurewa and Wahia, so they've definitely improved off the back of their sub-league performance here in New Zealand in that championship phase of the National League. In terms of us, we unfortunately are still missing Craig Johnston with that big injury that he picked up prior to the Chatham Cup final at the end of last week. But thankfully these days, Jonas Ottawa's back on the left wing. Jamie Young's recently come back from an injury. I think he's only recommended for 75 minutes. So probably going to have to take him off at some stage in this game. But apart from up front, we're at full strength for this one. And also worth noting going into next season, because of the addition of Jose Rivas, these days our first choice right back, we did say we might look at letting go of Rivera, who formerly was our first choice right back, but is still getting picked by the Ecuadorian national team. Looks like he won't be here for next season. He's currently underbid from Borussia Dortmund. I can't imagine that he'll turn down that move, that 60k transfer value actually, over what was recommended. So we've done quite well there according to our staff, but we'll see just how that turns out, how big that value does get a jump once he does make his way to Borussia Dortmund. We'll see if we're still getting screwed by the transfer value, even though we did just win the Club World Cup, and these days are a 4-star reputation club. Also, quite interestingly, later we'll get through the end of season review. Will we go professional off the back of that Club World Cup win? But as I said, pretty close to full strength for this final. Alex Moore up front with no Craig Johnston, but apart from that, it is our first choice 11 that we've been playing through the latter part of this New Zealand season. Hopefully we can complete what would be a perfect season trophy-wise for the first time really in the save, considering we also won a tournament internationally in the Club World Cup. Let's try and cap it off with a National League final win over Auckland United. And here are the team sheets for this National League Championship Grand Final. We are at first being the top qualifiers. Zajic and Anderson at centre-back. That's our strongest centre-back pairing when we don't need the under-20 rules these days, with Rivas at right-back. And as I said before, Moore is up front. There are Auckland United. That is a very, very defensive formation, as we suspected would be the case, because their manager does like playing that. But hopefully that bus parking here in Wellington doesn't work, and we can pick up the National League one last time. And just shy of the 10-minute mark here, first highlight is a throw-in just inside of the opposition half for us here. Rivas puts that one in, and it goes to our centre-back there in Zajic. Now Sam Clark finds Otto. Moore makes his way inside the box, but a good tackle there from one of the Auckland United defenders. These guys in the all black with the gold trim as their logo would suggest Sam Clark there gets a shot off the back of that tackle from Auckland United, but it's a bit high and wide, so we are still locked up here at 0-0. But a few minutes later, and Auckland United here are forced to try and make their way out from back, but Anderson very well placed there for that long pass forward. So we are back on the ball. Corona will play that back to Zajic and goes back to his senior centre-back partner these days in Anderson, who's actually another player who won't be here next season because he's already accepted a bid from Sydney FC. But Moore there with a really good chance was in behind, but just shanks that one horribly with his left foot. So a couple of chances early, we're not taking them, so it's still scoreless. And we're around halfway through this first half now. We're down the right end again here for a corner looking there inside the box for someone. It falls back out there to Zajic, who tries to head that one over Saar into the top right corner, but unfortunately it wasn't very powerful. Easy work there for the Auckland United goalkeeper, but he pumps it deep, and Rivas, who is in quite a bit of field there from where he should be as a right back on attack, but thankfully was there because he tidies things up now. We find Jonas Otto down that left-hand side. That ball takes a big deflection. Moore got his shot off, but I think that also got blocked, so it was a bit of an average chance, that one, but still just not really as clinical as we'd like to be down the right end of the field. But thankfully we are staying down there, and that's the case again here as Rivas gets us on the attack from a highlight only a few minutes later. Corona, he gets that ball now. It is there. That would have been Antunes. We go back there to one of our midfielders who was searching there for more. The ball goes out there. Jonas Otto with a long-range shot, but again, we're not hitting the target so far. Our rate for that is not very good at all. 6 shots overall, only 1 on target, and still 0. All a highlight off the back of that. Auckland United try and clear their lines yet again, but we get the ball back again. That was Rivas who cut a long way in field. Now the ball goes out there to Sousa at left back, picks out Otto quite nicely. Floats this one far post for Antunes, but unfortunately that header is off target again. Still 0 at the half-hour mark. And just as we're about to hit half-time in this game, it is still scoreless, but there's one more highlight here as we're about to enter 1 minute of added time. We have the ball here making our way quite quickly into the opposition half. Corona finds Rivas in some good space, squares that one nicely for Moore, but that shot gets blocked. Currently having a bit of a shocker on a 6.3, but then Antunes with a good chance there, beat the goalkeeper, but also couldn't get that one on target. Only 3 shots on target from 12 in that first half. Auckland United, as you'd probably suspect, with that very defensive formation they're going with, have done absolutely nothing, but so far actually defending quite well, not letting us getting too many shots on target. Now Young's on a bit of a struggling 6.4. Carly can come on in central attacking midfield. Hopefully he'll be a difference maker, as will Andrew Thomas, because Alex Moore is having an absolute shocker. We'll tell the guys that they're doing okay. Let's just kick on, work hard, and hopefully can pick up a win, because Auckland United look very set here on parking the bus. Hopefully we can break through and grab a winner in the second half. And it hasn't taken long for the first highlight of the second half, albeit a free kick here to Auckland United, but thankfully we head that way through Anderson, and Otto here going out right does get us back on the ball, but a loose touch here does mean that Auckland United might be on the front foot here from this first highlight of this half, which will be a bit of a turnaround from what was going on in that previous half. But thankfully there, we just keep the ball through Corona and now keep it for a decent amount of time. He's back on the ball here and finds Antunes down our right-hand side, back to Rivas and Corona, those three keeping the ball quite nicely. Now Clark, he'll find Antunes, squeeze that one nicely for Andrew Thomas, who's fresh off the bench, but is finishing a lot better than Alex Moore's was in that first half, to be fair. Don't think Alex Moore had a chance that good where it was just a simple tap-in, but finally we break through here. This Auckland United defence, and Antunes there just stays on side and finds Thomas, who gets in behind the defence, taps that one away nicely into the bottom left corner, and finally we take a 1-0 lead. And in fact, very short off the back of that opening goal, we are back on the attack here again inside of the final third. Corona there plays all the way back to Anderson, but back up there to Sam Clark, taking his time and straying out left, plays it in field there for Wildleg Khaled, who takes on the shot, looking for the top right corner of that one, comes off the ball. Now Rivas there gets the ball back for us, but nothing doing off the back of that. But good chance there from Wildleg Khaled, our bench so far in the second half. Looks to be having a pretty good impact. A goal for Thomas. Good chance there for Khaled, but still only 1-0. Hopefully can find a cushion goal looking there. I think that would have been for Otto at the far post, but unfortunately can't quite find him. Saar claims that one first, drops it at his feet and pumps that one a long way, but nowhere near an Auckland United player. So thankfully we keep that ball again through Rivas, played up quickly to Khaled, who makes his way just on the edge of the box. He was getting tightly marked there. Good save from Saar. Was about to praise our guys because so far the second half looking a bit more threatening than we were in the first. But another highlight here, and again we get on the attack quickly. Corona will find Rivas in space here down our right hand side. He gets brought down badly there from Hawk. He might have not been able to keep that ball in play anyway, so that not a good idea there from Hawk. Gives away a penalty, and I think this is going to be Khaled here with a chance to give us a cushion goal lead. He will. That's a really well taken penalty. Puts that one away in the top left corner. 39th goal this season for Wildleg Khaled, still doing a really good job, even though since Antunes came in, he's been a bit of a bench player for us, but thankfully a bit more clinical here in the second half than the first, and we now 2-0 in front. And we make our way forward now to the 69-minute mark. A nice time here for a highlight for Auckland United, who are on the front foot. Hawk puts that one at the far post, and Seuss gets out jump there from Oliver Dowling, who will put that one away. And with one of their first real attacks of this game, they score a goal and are right back in this one at 2-1. So this formation actually doing a decent job against us so far, making us struggle a little bit in terms of scoring goals. And they've got one, and one of the few times that they've been on the attack. So with only 20 minutes left, Auckland United are right back in this one with their first shot in the game. They score a goal to make it 2-1, but Sousa off the back of that is struggling, so Debenham can come on with our final sub. 15 minutes left, 2-1 Cashmere. And just snuck our way into the last 10 minutes of this game. We've got the ball here, hopefully can find a cushion goal again and put this game to bed properly. There Khaled plays a nice one over the top for Antunes, and a good save there as well from Saar in goal for Auckland United. Does keep it at 2-1, but a good chance there for our Portuguese right winger to put this one to bed. We've got a corner off the back of that. Otto takes his time, tries to find someone there in the centre of the box. Unfortunately can't, but Otto is back on the ball. He cuts in field, plays that back to Corona, going backwards at the moment. Let's see if this highlight does actually continue. It will, because Zajic will find Rivas, who so far has been heavily involved, going near far post looking for someone, but Saar punches it clear, and could actually be a chance here for Auckland on the counter-attack, but thankfully Zajic will break this one up. But the highlight is going to continue, so it's a very long one here with 5 minutes to go in this game. In fact, now it finally gets cut off. We are still 2-1 in front, but again a corner here. Otto puts this one into the mix, but again they head that one clear. This time Sam Clark is there to tidy things up, picks out Corona, who is sitting on a yellow card. All our subs used up and not long left. Hopefully that won't become an issue, but Rivas puts this one far post looking for Thomas. Can't find him, but Otto gets back on the ball and some good short passing. He gets the ball back there, tight angle, and beats Saar. And Jonas Otto, who's probably up for Player of the Year this season at Cashmere Tech, considering his efforts back at the Club World Cup, will put that one away, and that should seal us a perfect season trophy-wise yet again here at Cashmere Tech. But for the first time, it will include a Club World Cup. He was the player of that tournament, of course, and he should seal this National League Championship final as we make our way into 5 minutes of added time. Auckland United with only 2 shots in this game. One of them was on target and was a goal, which was a bit frustrating. It took us a long time to break these guys down. A couple of subs there at halftime did feel like it made a difference. Likes of Thomas and Khaled coming off the bench, they certainly helped us out. They both grabbed goals to put us in front. They grabbed one back there, did Auckland, with 20 minutes left, but thankfully Otto put that one to bed, and we lift another National League title here at Cashmere Tech off the back of a 3-1 win in the final over Auckland United. So another National League title for us here at Cashmere Technical, and that's going to be the last one that we do win of this save, because we're going to leave these guys off the back of the Champions League next year, where hopefully we can break that record that Auckland City do hold. But in the end, that was a relatively comfortable win. Auckland United did make it 2-1 and make things a bit interesting at one point, but to be fair, they didn't attack much apart from that with that very defensive formation. So we picked this up yet again, a quick look at all the past winners while we've been here during the course of this save. There was that first season where we got beaten like in the following Champions League by Auckland City, but since then it's been complete domination. That is, I think, 13 years in a row we've won it here at Cashmere Technical. We've been completely dominant of late. Auckland City haven't really been as much of a threat as they were in the early part of the save. It's for the most part been Western Suburbs, a couple of fresh faces in there last 4 years in Havelock, North the Phoenix Reserves, and this year in Auckland United, but that makes it 13 straight titles here at Cashmere Tech in New Zealand. Hopefully we can do the exact same thing in the Champions League next season and finish off our time here at Cashmere Tech by making them the most successful club in Oceania. Also looking at what else has popped up in the inbox, we get a little bit of money, but that won't help us out too much these days, because we're actually in quite a good situation off the back of that Club World Cup. 14 titles overall, because they did win one before we got here. And going up a bit further, Otto, he gets man of the match. He's been superb for us this season. When we get to the end of season review, expect him to pick up some awards. But also, Rivera will be going to Dortmund before the start of next season, but it does mean that Debenham goes back to being our backup right back, which, to be fair, has been the case on the bench anyway, as he can cover both right back and left back. But Rivera still being picked for Ecuador, so don't think he would have committed to us anyway with the All Whites in the future. So we'll let him go for £60,000, albeit we'll probably only get about 30k of that, because that 50% of sell-on fee that was included in his contract, but mainly that will get rid of 5.5k a week in wages for a player who these days is a backup. But that's another National League title for us here at Cashmere Tech. We'll just start to go forward, see what our transfer budget will be going into next season, and also, will the club go back to being professional? And a few clicks on, we've got some news items here to run through off the back of that National League Championship win for the last time here at Cashmere Tech. Here's the team of the year for the New Zealand National League. Paul in goal, a bit surprising, because I didn't think he played as much as Cifuentes, but he gets in there, our backup goalkeeper, or even third or fourth choice here at Cashmere Tech. The bat four, that makes sense, albeit Clark over Anderson. He did play a fair bit before we did get Rivasan at right back. Rivera played more for us this season, so he gets in there at right back, the man who's about to leave for Dortmund. Ottawa Khaled on the wings and Johnston up front, so it does mean that we're missing our midfielders as well as our central attacking midfielder. Courier in there from Auckland United, Markau from, I think that's Manurewa, and Duval from Western Suburbs, even though those guys actually struggled a bit in the National League Championship. Antunes and Hosafa were on the bench. But going up further, the board have met with us. They want to discuss turning professional. I don't actually know if we're going to have much of a say in this though, because a few items above, they're saying that we're going to turn professional. So I think I'm not going to be able to change their mind on this one. Not that I really want to. This is actually quite a good thing, because we did kind of ruin that the first season we got here when they had a £2 million transfer budget, which really we should not have spent. So we're going to try and not spend that on players this time, maybe just do a bit more scouting and spend it on facilities instead of other stuff. That money here at Cashmere Tech will attend this meeting. I think we just say it's a great idea, because it doesn't look like they're going to listen to us anyway, because I've already got an article above that saying that we will turn professional. So going to next season, we will be back to being a pro club here at Cashmere Tech, which, to be fair, you would expect, being the best team in the world and all that stuff. So that's going to change in January. So it probably means I'm going to have to sort out contracts for all our players before that Champions League. Happy days, but also got our transfer budget. And this could actually reflect the fact that we're about to be a professional club again off the back, of course, of that Club World Cup win. Remembering, we did see there should be a pretty significant wage rise going into next season when we look at the finances, one of the last couple of episodes here at Cashmere Tech. And indeed, that's a gigantic wage rise, up to 130k a week. The transfer budget, 1.2 million. Let's just see what that does. We'll ignore that new contract, because we're already on one until we need to leave here at Cashmere Tech next season. The scouting, we've got 1.2 million in transfer budget. As I said, probably not going to spend that because that didn't work out too well for us last time. Ended up going semi-pro, and we definitely don't need to shift that over into the wage budget. We've got about 75k a week spare, which will rise to 80 once Rivera leaves. So that is a massive wage budget for us to work with, especially for our first proper transfer window as a club with a 4-star reputation. Could have a fair bit of fun going to our last Champions League campaign here at Cashmere Tech. And going forward a bit further, we've got our last end of season review here at Cashmere Technical for 2040-41. It says we've won 4 trophies. I think they've deleted, as per usual, the OFC Champions League. And I think also, looking at what popped up earlier when they said that we won the quadruple instead of the hextuple or whatever it would be, 4-6 trophies, they've completely forgot about the Club World Cups, the 2 big ones. For some reason, they've forgot about in terms of this end of season review, but we won 6 trophies this year. Can't do much better here at Cashmere Technical. So a good time to move on and, of course, focus next year off the back of that Champions League on the World Cup with the All Whites. But only a couple of signings we made in this season. To be fair, most of them did come in about halfway through, but the best of them apparently was Louis Antunes, who did replace Walid Khaled as our right winger. 13 starts, 9 goals and 5 assists. Based on output, he does deserve that award, but to be fair, all the players we brought in, Rivas, De Beer, Bowden and Rapiro, they've all got some very good ratings in the few games that they did play. The players that we let go of, Prince Kamalo off the back of the Club World Cup, he went to Saudi Arabia, actually has picked up a few more goals since when we first checked in, and there's the confirmation. Tim Anderson has gone to Sydney FC for £27,500, so it does mean that Hosafa might start in the Champions League next season alongside Zajic, or we sign a good youngster just to make sure those couple of games we have to play in New Zealand, we have a decent under 20 option, but not much in terms of ins and out this season, albeit to get a few players who came in and featured at the Club World Cup, a couple of Argentinians, but they also left us during that tournament on a free, so they don't pop up here. They actually helped us in a couple of those games. This season's results, yeah, unfortunately, the Club World Cup's not on here, so we can't look at that, but the other 5 trophies we won, we can see the National League did not lose a single game, romped our way through the Southern League, and did the exact same thing in the National League Championship, capped off with that final win that you saw earlier. OFC Champions League, it was a bit tight against Western Suburbs in the final, but thankfully we got the job done and picked that up one more time. Before then, it was pretty comfortable though. Some big wins in the group stage and the knockouts, the Chatham Cup, that was relatively comfortable this season, capped off with a 2-0 win in the final over Northern Rovers. And the Charity Cup right at the start of the season, the Community Shield, which we're actually going to have to play again next season. That's another trophy that we can win while we make our way through the Champions League. We beat Western Suburbs 3-0. And of course, that Club World Cup as well, a rather large thing that is not popping up here on our end of season review. But going forward to the moments to remember, yeah, the lack of a Club World Cup does kind of make this look a bit silly. Our biggest one apparently 10-0 over Tafana. Scoreline-wise, can't argue with that, but apparently the match to remember 6-0 against the Dunedin City Royals. I'd imagine if the Club World Cup was here, that final should be there, that penalty shootout win over RB Leipzig, and the goal of the season was scored by Finn Brown in a 7-1 win in the Southern League over Green Island. And here it is, we're already 6-0 up by this point off the back of the first half, but a free kick there and a wonderful one with his left foot in the top right corner. It's a good goal, so I suppose we can't argue it wasn't anything too special in terms of what we did, but it was a set-piece goal, and it was quite a nice one. So Finn Brown, he picks up goal of the season there in that 7-1 win down at Sunnyvale Park, I think that was, in Dunedin. Now this is where things changed quite a bit this season. It's all gone up and improved off the back of that Club World Cup, most notably. We are now a 4-star reputation club, albeit apparently still only known continentally instead of worldwide, which is a little bit strange off the back of winning a Club World Cup, but all the money's gone up. As you'd expect, our top shirt sellers, Otto, Khaled, Cifuentes, Antunes, and Rivera, so maybe letting go of him will just hurt those shirt sales a little bit going forward to our best 11 for this season. Cifuentes in goal, the back 4 is what we were using early stages in the National League. Sousa at left back, Rivera at right back, Clark and Zajic alongside each other, being our under 20 players that we had before Rivas came in. In midfield, we've got Clark and Turner, so both deep line playmakers, neither of Corona or Vinicius, who do the dirty work. Up front, we've got Khaled at right, Otto out left, Johnson up front. That makes sense. But Al-Dazari, who left us quite early in the season, he's in central attacking midfield, even though he played most games for us as a right winger. instead of Wily Khalid. So to be fair, Khalid's actually done quite well in that team with the amount of players who are in his way at times during the season. Al Dazari, that's a bit random, but the rest of it does sort of make sense. And going forward to the accolades, obviously we pick up the Manager of the Year here in New Zealand, but the Fans Player of the Season, it's the man who was the best player at the Club World Cup. That's Jonas Otto with an 8.3. The Young Player of the Season, that's Jorge Rivera won last time before he goes to Borussia Dortmund, just going down past what we saw before. Earlier on in this end of season review, the top goal scorer Wily Khalid with 39, Jonas Otto 38 assists, though those two doing a great job for us as per usual this season. Most man of the matches, that was Khalid with 11. And going over to the competition awards, while we have a look at the record breakers, most overall goals by a player in a season, Khalid now holds that record with 39. The most goals by a player in a match, that was Kamalo with a double hat-trick, which he picked up in a league match. Otto gets the most assists in a season with that 38. These days, Sam Clark has the most appearances for Cashmere Tech by a player with 188. Maybe can break that, but might not be able to by the time we wrap things up off the back of the Champions League. And Wily Khalid, the overall leading goal scorer here at Cashmere Tech, with 134 in terms of individual awards. Khalid got the top goal scorer in the Champions League and the Chatham Cup, as well as the National League. Otto, the best player at the Club World Cup and the National League Player of the Year, even though he missed a decent chunk of the late part of the season with that injury, that Achilles tendon that he's done, which might keep him out of the early stages of the Champions League next year. Craig Johnston does pick that up off the back of getting an 8-point-something average rating at Cashmere Tech here this season. Superb season, 14th straight title, and of course, also the best team in the world. Why that's not popping up is absolutely infuriating, but nonetheless, we are the best team in the world here at Cashmere Tech. And just going back and seeing what did change here this season, won the Champions League off the back of a win in extra time over Western Suburbs. Thankfully, that's popped up because honestly, so far ago, I've forgotten. Then we picked up the FIFA Club World Cup. It's finally shown up here in the end of season review. Jonas Otto, as we saw, the best player. Also picked up the Southern League. Stiffer Wingtes got him to sign a new contract, which is quite handy, albeit it could potentially be more used to in terms of development to go to a bigger club. We actually got New Zealand up to a high ranking in the save of 12th in the world and picked up the National League. And there's some stuff that we saw earlier in the end of season review. So I think that will do it for today's episode and for our last full season here at Cashmere Technical. We pick up all the trophies possible, including that Club World Cup. All that's left to do is come back next year before the FIFA World Cup with the All Whites and break that record that Auckland City hold of having the most OFC Champions League titles. We're currently tied on 12. Let's make it a lucky 13, and that should be a good point to wrap things up here at Cashmere Tech. But if you enjoyed this season here, all those trophies that we did win, especially that Club World Cup, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Until tomorrow, we will come back, run through any transfers that we make with that ridiculous budget we have, and also going professional before we make our way through the group stages of the Champions League. One last time, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.